Part of me hopes that they're wrong and it's not her. And maybe she's just in the hospital. I want my daughter back. I want to see her walk through the door.
Wearing that mask of pain, the last few days feel like a dream Charlene Ewell would give anything to wake up from. She dropped her 16-year-old daughter Haley off at church on Sunday, parting the way they always do.
I told her I love you and I'll see you later. That's what we always said every time she left. She would never leave without kissing me goodbye, or at night giving me millions of kisses, because it wasn't okay to go to bed without kisses. And that was just Haley. She was very loving and she was always there.
She couldn't have known it was the last time she'd see her constant companion.
I wish I wouldn't have taken her to church that morning. I wish my alarm hadn't gone off, or I'd have woke up late so she wouldn't have been there that day.
With survivors and loved ones crushed by the enormity of the loss in this pin-dot-sized town, the investigation grinds on.
This is a massive crime scene. It's a long process, and like I said, we're only 48 hours into this.
Revealing hidden warning signs about the man who methodically unloaded hundreds of bullets on worshipers in a shoebox Texas church he had visited just days before. And now a portrait of a monster emerging. While in the Air Force, Devin Kelley was convicted of assaulting his ex-wife and fracturing his infant stepson's skull. A 2012 police report reveals that he escaped from a mental health facility to, quote, carry out death threats against his superiors and attempted to smuggle weapons onto the base where he was stationed.
He seems to be somebody who was angry. He has a past history of violent behavior. These are all characteristics that we've seen in a number of mass casualty attackers over the last several years.
Now, this documented criminal history should have prevented Devin Kelley from purchasing the military-style rifle he used in the mass killing from this San Antonio store.
The Air Force didn't notify the FBI of his conviction, which would have precluded him from legally buying a firearm. And so when he went in to buy a gun, there was no record of his conviction in the Air Force.
There was nothing in our databases that precluded him from purchasing a firearm.
The Air Force now admitting something went wrong, issuing a statement that said it has launched a review of how the service handled the criminal records of former airman Devin P. Kelley.
We've taken responsibility, and we're going to find out what happened and fix it.
But even if the Air Force had passed those records along, Kelley may have been able to acquire weapons through other means.
There are informal ways or illegal ways, you can steal it or buy it off the black market some way, to acquire weapons, because the reality is there are several million weapons in this country and a lot of assault weapons out there where if you're really determined to find them, you'll find them.
The sporting goods store saying in a statement, we also confirmed that both sales were approved by the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Many of the survivors and their families will bear the emotional and physical scars from that rifle, like David Brown's mother, shot multiple times in the legs, recovering in the hospital tonight.
The shooter was shooting any and everybody he could see, I guess everybody trying to run. And then after nobody was moving, they were just laying on the floor. He walked up and down all the aisles shooting everybody as they laid on the floor.
How did she survive? Did she play dead?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. She just laid on the ground.
And so many never made it out of that church, including 8 members of the Holcomb family, spanning 3 generations, including a pregnant mother and a 1-year-old.
The whole family was beautiful inside and out. They always thinking about somebody else, always there to help you.
In a country where mass shootings have seemingly become monthly events, one would think preventing the next massacre would be a priority. The debate over gun control once again coming to a head. President Trump today in South Korea rebuffed potential restrictions on gun buyers.
You've talked about wanting to put extreme vetting on people trying to come into the United States, but I wonder if you would consider extreme vetting for people trying to buy a gun.
If you did what you're suggesting, there would have been no difference 3 days ago, and you might not have had that very brave person who happened to have a gun or a rifle in his truck go out and shoot him and hit him and neutralize him. And I can only say this, if he didn't have a gun, instead of having 26 dead, he would have had hundreds more dead. So that's the way I feel about it.
But President Trump's nominee for Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs made this statement during his confirmation hearing today.
I'd also like to, and I may get in trouble with other members of the committee, just say, how insane it is that in the United States of America, a civilian can go out and buy a semi-automatic assault rifle like an AR-15, which apparently was the weapon that was used.
This is not simply an issue of gun control. This is really an issue of being better able to identify people living in our communities who are exhibiting the behaviors consistent with somebody preparing to carry out an attack like this.
One key to identifying potential mass killers, past incidents of domestic violence, like the ones in Kelley's criminal record.
Devin Kelley had a long history of being a dangerous person. We know that he abused animals. We know that he fractured the skull of his infant stepson. We know that he tried to strangle his wife, which is actually a huge indicator for someone who may commit a mass shooting.
One study found that 54% of mass shootings in the U.S. were tied to domestic or family violence. Investigators believe this killing spree was rooted in a domestic dispute. They say Kelley was hunting for his mother-in-law.
Abused women are the canary in the coal mine for mass shootings.
Samantha Bee even highlighted this connection earlier this month.
Mass shooters come in all male shapes and all male sizes, but most of them rehearse for it the same way.
This is Omar Mateen's ex-wife, who told ABC News he regularly beat her.
Yep, you got it. The common thread is domestic violence.
It's incredibly important that we understand the implications of domestic violence, that we are ensuring that domestic abusers are prohibited from buying guns, but also that they have to relinquish the guns that they already have.
Local law enforcement in Sutherland Springs, the FBI, and the ATF have been able to unearth a great deal about the killer's motives and timeline of the day, but there's one resource they have not been able to tap.
The phone of the subject was turned over to us. At this point in time, we are unable to get into that phone.
Predictably, most mass shooters, particularly his age, communicate electronically. To see what's on his phone may give you a window into what he was doing moments before the shooting.
But what's painfully clear here tonight at a vigil held at Haley Kruger's high school, answers won't heal the hurt that has touched nearly everyone here.
You see this community that has come together,
or fill the absence left by so many lives senselessly taken during a Sunday service. So they lean on one another in song and faith to guide them through the darkest chapter this town has ever seen. For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman in Sutherland Springs, Texas.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.